Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1939, and today's date is August 9th, 2019, and the title of the episode is The Central Bank System is Unravelling, Trapped by Their Own Debt. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about gold. If you've been watching the news lately, you'll have seen the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 launch. Those Saturn V rockets moved, and if you plotted their trajectory on a chart, it might look something like this. Except this isn't an Apollo launch. This is the price of gold since June. Noble Gold has been predicting the gold takeoff since last year. Call Noble Gold at 877-646-5347 and make sure to mention X22 Report to see if there are any promotions they're running for gold IRA rollovers. Call 877-646-5347 or hit the link below. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we are seeing panic show up in all different areas. It's very easy to see it when individuals tweet out. Sometimes it's not noticeable. With the central bank, with the EU, it's a little bit more difficult to see exactly what they're doing, how they're panicking, but it is there. They're nervous. They're afraid. Out in the UK, they know that there's a new individual that is and this is Boris Johnson, who is heading towards a no-deal Brexit. And the EU and those non-elected leaders, they're very worried about this. They're worried that this is actually going to happen. Now, what do central bankers, what do non-elected leaders do when this happens? Well, they put out propaganda. They push fear. They try to invoke blame within the government. They like to divide. They like to put people against people. This is how they succeed. And this is exactly what they're doing in the UK. Now, they put out a film about how they were discussing Brexit and how the EU bragged on the film about screwing the UK. And the EU bragged about crushing Theresa May. We got more than we hoped. The EU admitted Theresa May wanted a customs union all along. And they went on and on and on, trying to make it seem like, look, we have you. There is no escape. You're going to have to do what we want. But guess what? The people didn't vote for the referendum to break away from the EU because they like the EU, because they wanted to be a part of the EU. They voted to separate themselves because they don't want non-elected leaders telling them what to do. And what this video shows is that they were conspiring with the leaders of the UK. It doesn't help their cause. Actually, it's going to make their cause even worse. Boris Johnson and those individuals that are pushing the Brexit, they're going to look past this. They're going to push harder than ever before. And guess what? They're not going to be blaming each other. They are focused on what they want. Just like here in the United States with Trump and the patriots. They are focused on what they're doing. Everything that we're seeing right now, it's not just happening willy-nilly. This has been planned for a very, very long time. This is strategy. They knew coming into all of this that the central bank, their system, was imploding. They knew that the debt level was too high. They knew eventually they were going to crash the system. They knew eventually this was going to lead to war, to cover up the entire thing. And they knew they were going to have to turn everything around. Reverse everything the central bank, the deep state, have been doing to this economy. They were going to have to reverse it. And what did they do? They started to draw up a plan. They created the plan. They created the strategy they were going to use. And then they put it in motion. And this is what we're seeing right now. This is not a coincidence. This is not happening by mistake. When Trump says, hey, listen, we might not make a trade deal with China until September. He doesn't say these things unless there is a reason. It's all part of the strategy. Remember, the longer they go with China, with these tariffs, what happens? China self-destructs. Corporations move out of China, maybe into other countries, maybe back here to the United States. The reason why Trump is continually pushing and pushing is because he wants total and full control of the negotiations. He doesn't want China to have wiggle room. China is trying to hold out. They're hoping that Trump doesn't get reelected. And they're hoping, because there are certain deep state operatives within China, they're hoping that everything goes back to the way it was. Remember, each and every country is not immune to the deep state. Each country has those individuals within the country calling the shots, putting pressure on certain individuals. And Trump right now is using this to his advantage. Think about the Fed right here in the United States. Think about what Trump has done. He has completely taken control of what the Federal Reserve does. He's trying to bring the interest rates down to zero. A central bank loaning money out without interest attached? That's just unheard of. But this is what Trump is driving them towards. It makes them obsolete. What do we need them for then? What else do they provide? Actually, they've never provided anything. They don't help the economy. And if you need proof of this, just go back to, say, 1984. Back then, it took $1 of additional debt to create an additional $1 of real GDP. As of the fourth quarter of 2018, it took $3.8 to create $1 of real GDP. As of 2013, it took more than $1 of public debt to create $1 of GDP. If interest rates were 3%, interest on total credit market debt would be a whopping $2.16 trillion per year. That is approximately 11.5% of real GDP year in, year out. Is the central bank helping the economy? No. Every time the government or the people borrow money, it hurts the economy. The debt is what's actually choking the economy. And the Fed, they have to continually force more debt into the system. But the system is choking on the debt. It can't accept anymore. Now remember, the central bank, the deep state, they never thought they'd be in this position. They thought they were going to have their war or whatever, that it was going to be all covered up, and they were going to restart everything once all that was over. They never thought that they were going to be in a position where they have no shield, no cover story, no blocks. They're wide open for everyone to see. They are now trapped by their own debt. So when you start to put all this together, the central bank, they are being controlled by the patriots. They're bringing the rates down to zero. They're trapped by their own debt. They have no place to go. Everything that they've done in the past will be blamed on them. This is why Trump is continually out there contradicting the Fed, telling the people they have no idea what they're doing. They're not benefiting the people. This is all on purpose. Now take a look what's happening in the market. Yes, the market came down a little bit. It's not really that big of a deal. Actually, it's on purpose. Why do I say this? Because Trump is going to use this to his advantage. He's going to tell the central bank, listen, and he'll probably tweet this out in the next week or two. Listen, we need the rate cut. The stock market wants to take off. The stock market would do a lot better. We wouldn't have these ups and downs. And if he would just cut the rates again, holy, this thing would take off. Now look what's happening with gold. If you notice, just a couple weeks ago, we just crossed the $1,400 mark. Now where are we? Well, now we're over $1,500. Yes, it bobs up and down. It's not that big of a deal. They're bringing the gold price up very, very slowly. They don't want to shock everything. Have we seen paper contracts thrown at gold yet to bring it back below $1,400? Not yet. This is what we're watching. If we go through a period of time and there are no paper contracts, there's no manipulation, that tells us something. That tells us that the patriots are completely in control of this system. I mean, if you look in the past, every time gold tried to move up, it was slammed down hard. Right back to where it started from. They would have to slam this down back to 1,300 at this point, and we have not seen it. This is something that we're watching, though. If gold continually moves up and there is no paper contracts thrown at it, the patriots now are in control of the entire economic system, which means they're going to bring the gold price up. Now, where is that magical number where it needs to be? Well, if you go back in time, and if you go to the U.S. debt clock, what does that tell us? Well, if you use the calculation from 1913, and this is what it's showing, it says that gold should be around $5,950 per ounce. If they use the same calculation for silver, silver should be $725 per ounce. Think about that for a second. Think about what this is telling us. It's telling us that gold has a long way to go. And once we hit 2,000, 3,000, you know we are on our way. If you do not see the central bank system slam down the gold price with paper contracts, they have completely lost control, and gold is going to continually move up and up and up. Now, they don't want it to move up too quickly. They don't want to shock the system. But like Q has been telling us, gold is going to destroy the central bank system. And it looks like the patriots are already moving forward with this part of the plan. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.